What we knew about this play when we started it was that I was going to play Elvis Presley and Kristen was going to play Teddy Roosevelt. And Kristen had a crazy, and still does, obsession with Teddy Roosevelt and had been reading about him for years. In the show that we made prior to this one, we spent 3 weeks in Las Vegas, and I started to really wonder about Elvis impersonators because they were everywhere, and I was sort of fascinated by that. So one of our company members said, well, maybe we should write a one-person show where you play like Elvis. And that's kind of how it started. And then we got in the room and we still didn't know maybe if they were going to be separate or if we were going to be able to mash them together. And things just started happening in a way that it made sense that the two things could exist as one. And then we just started to find a story. And we go on a road trip from Rapid City, South Dakota to Graceland, and we actually took that trip as a group, rented an RV and drove to Graceland.
So yeah, so there's video in the show that was captured like on that trip, and that was one of the sort of starting points for a lot of stuff that you see in the show.
I think Elvis Presley was kind of this very fun, gregarious person, but also this very serious person, and some of that seriousness is actually kind of a sadness that he carried. And so I think that immediately when I brought that into the room after I had done some more research about him and learned about his childhood and learned about his mother dying so young, and some of the tragedies that he experienced as a kid and growing up really poor. Then this persona that was built of this entertainer, unlike any. So I think I was able to like really take those two things specifically and just play.
And I think that we kind of found some links in that, in the way that those both men, because Teddy similarly has this, half the things that are true about him you think are, it sounds like cartoons. I mean, it's crazy. Like he leaps off his horse to like knife a cougar to death, and I mean like crazy. But he was kind of manic in this way to hide a pretty serious depression, which he never could speak about. Had some pretty intense beliefs as a person and did some pretty intense things as a president. His kind of masculinity, his sort of Victorian masculinity, is like a little bit terrifying, but he was also this like joyful, passionate, delighted person in the world, and like chipmunk. So I think that those two things as well, like I think that's something we like to deal with. We deal with in the team in most of our stuff, is like how humor blends into just like tragedy and fear and you know, all the pain, and I mean it's just humanity really is like, that's how we are.
Well, we haven't really talked about the character Ann that I also play, and she. Oh yeah.
There's the lens of this road trip between these two like mythical figures,
and she's someone who definitely has a destination, a place that she wants to go, and is sort of in her life very limited in her ability to be able to do that, whether it's financial, mental, emotional, and she takes that trip with the help of Teddy and Elvis, essentially.
We hope you'll come.
Yeah, come to the show.